Hey everybody, welcome back to Better Know a Highway, a series where we look at the interstates of America, one road at a time. In this episode, we head to the southwesternmost part of the country to look at a slightly shorter highway that runs through some extreme and interesting terrain along its route, Interstate 8. And since this is a shorter video, we'll have a shorter intro, so just make sure to like and subscribe, and if you want to support this channel, you can sign up as a member by clicking the join button below, and I definitely appreciate that. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get started. Interstate 8 is an east to west oriented highway in the southwesternmost region of the US. It runs for a total of 350 miles through 2 states. Starting at the eastern end, we begin in Arizona, where I-8 runs halfway through the state, from its center to its western edge for 178 miles. The eastern terminus of I-8 is at an oblique junction with the continental spanning I-10, near the central Arizona city of Casa Grande. Via I-10, drivers on I-8 can reach Phoenix to the north and the city of Tucson to the south. Heading west, 8 runs in a nearly dead straight line as it passes south of Casa Grande, and also goes past other nearby places, such as Maricopa and Arizona City. It's not long before 8 leaves this relatively populated area and enters the harsh lands of the Sonoran Desert, having long stretches through this unique habitat with no exits, as this region here is nearly uninhabited. Curving slightly northwest, 8 soon reaches its next settlement when it gets to the town of Gila Bend, and passes by it on its southern side. I-8 also bends itself here to change direction and start heading southwest, proceeding back into open lands and passing a few tiny settlements along the way, such as Sentinel and Dateland. As it continues for several more miles within the desert landscape, 8 soon begins to parallel the nearby Gila River and its fertile agricultural valley. Then, after taking a turn to a due west direction, 8 enters into its largest settlement yet when it arrives at the city of Yuma. As it enters on the eastern side, 8 passes just north of the local city airport. Then the highway makes a sharp turn north and quickly junctions with US Route 95, a highway which takes travelers directly into the city about a mile away. Continuing to pass by downtown Yuma, as well as a large commercial district, while on its northward direction, 8 then makes a sharp curve back to the west, and as it does so, it crosses the Colorado River, which also serves as the state line, thus bringing the highway out of Arizona. The other state in which I-8 passes through is California, where it crosses the state's southernmost edge from inland to the coast for 172 miles. After crossing the border and leaving the Yuma area, 8 once again treks into the barren desert territory and proceeds to take a significant jut to the south, and as it does so, gets very close to the international border with Mexico. In fact, at one point, the highway is less than 2,000 feet from it. Now running west along the border, 8 crosses the All-American Canal, and then, eventually, heads back slightly north, and after miles of nothingness, the highway enters the Imperial Valley and its lush lands filled with farms. Once here, 8 turns due west once again, and this time proceeds in an exact straight line in that direction, as it passes through the valley. After several miles of farms, 8 reaches the city of El Centro, passing directly through its south side, and having a junction with California Route 86, one of 2 routes, along with Route 111, that head north through the valley to pass the Salton Sea on each side. After passing through El Centro, 8 has several more miles of farmland before leaving the area and entering back into the desert, where a relatively short distance later, the highway passes the small settlement of Ocotillo and then enters a new type of terrain when it reaches the Jacumba mountain range and a significant incline in elevation. I-8 ascends and descends the range via 2 separate canyons. For westbound traffic, the highway snakes uphill through Devil's Canyon, while eastbound travelers descend downward through Incopa Gorge. Both routes traverse over 3,000 feet in elevation change, as both directions weave their way through the narrow canyons and numerous sharp curves that require a reduction in speed and careful driving, especially for large trucks. Because of this separation of each lane, this section of I-8 has the largest median, or area between the lanes, of any highway in the entire interstate system, with a maximum separation of around 1.5 miles at its widest point. Eventually the lanes reunite, and 8 reaches an elevated plateau, A quick dip south brings the highway once again close to the international border for a short time, before it turned back to the northwest to ascend through a series of passes. There are 4 in total, each around 4,000 feet in elevation. At Crestwood Summit, the second pass it reaches in this direction, I-8 reaches its highest elevation of 4,190 feet. Now on the western side of the mountains, 8 traverses the Cleveland National Forest and descends down into more populated lands, passing places such as Alpine and Flynn Springs. Population density continues to increase as 8 next arrives at the city of El Cajon, making a turn to due west and then back to south while wrapping around it. A turn back to the west then brings I-8 into its final region when it enters the greater San Diego metro area. Snaking its way through numerous suburban cities, 8 stays north of San Diego itself and proceeds to have 3 major junctions with other interstate routes. The first is a 4-way junction with the southern terminus of I-15, a major north-south route that goes through the interior Mountain West. Another route, California Route 15, heads south from this intersection. Shortly after this, a second junction is with a major spur route in the area, I-805, which acts as a slightly more inland highway for its parent route, passing through many suburban cities in the area. Now as it heads down Mission Valley, 8 has its final major junction when it meets up with the last of the 5 series of north-south running highways, I-5, which of course heads up the entire west coast. The last part for 8 after this junction is a roughly 2-mile stretch that runs just south of Mission Bay and many of the area's numerous attractions, such as SeaWorld, which travelers can access with the highway's final 2 exits. I-8 then terminates at an at-grade intersection with a local roadway known as Sunset Cliffs Boulevard, ending just a mile east of the beaches on the Pacific Ocean. This intersection thus ends I-8's somewhat modest but very interesting 350-mile run. Well, that will do it for this episode of Better Know a Highway, and we finally made it to single digits. How about that? And hey, before you go, make sure to like and subscribe, always appreciate that. Check out the VRT Discord, link is down below in the description, and if you want to support this channel, you can always sign up as a member for just $2.99 a month by clicking the join button below. And as always, a big shout out to all my members. Thank you so much for your support throughout this entire series and beyond. I very much appreciate it. And to get on this cool list with all these cool people, all you gotta do is sign up below. Now, with all that out of the way, make sure you enjoy the ride, and up next, it's the final 5 series highway all the way out on the west coast, Interstate 5, and I'll see you then.